right.
Regular meeting of the Park Board Commissioners, agenda and order of business Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. This meeting will be held at the council hearing room beginning at 5:30 p.m. Citizen input must be submitted by email to the Park Board at fallriverma.org by noon 10/4/23. Meeting will be available for viewing at Fall River Government TV and FredTV.us or Channel 18. Roll call of commissioners.
Amber Burns.
Helen Rigo.
Joseph DeSilva, Commissioner Farias is running behind, and Commissioner McDonald will not be here this month. Reading of the open meeting law. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit this meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. Citizen input?
None.
No citizen input. Acceptance of minutes from September 6, 2023 regular Park Board meeting.
Motion to accept.
Motion is accepted by Commissioner Rigo. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Burns. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item 1, new business. Item A, update from Lawton Square Community Preservation Project. Mr. Pirano, Assistant Planner.
They have all your maps.
Good evening. It's good to be here again, back for other things other than the cemetery. So Jerry Lawton Plaza is located downtown on South Main Street near the Cherry and Webb Building and Anawant Street. It's kind of been in its same condition since it was installed in the 70s, as far as our research can tell. And the plan is to use ARPA funding to rehabilitate the space into a flex space. As you are aware, we removed the trees using tree division money at the end of last fiscal year because there was some money left over to do that, to save some money on the project. And it has gone out to bid 2 times now. So that's why there's some delay in getting the project underway. The first time we bid the project, there were no respondents. The second time we had one response at over $580,000, and our architects and consulting engineers estimated the project to cost about $250,000. So more than double the cost, so we rejected the bid. We have since looked at other options, including bidding it out over the winter, hoping a contractor would pick it up as a quick project to do in the spring before they get underway with their bigger construction projects. But we are worried that we're going to see the same type of problems. And this is not unique to this project or the city of Fall River. There's a lot of money out there from ARPA, from other federal programs where construction companies are kind of cherry picking the projects they want, throwing in kind of unbalanced bids or unreasonable bids for projects that they're not very interested in, but if someone will pay them an exorbitant amount of money to do a 3,000 square foot plaza, they'd do it. So one of the things we're looking at now is general contracting the project ourselves, using some of our staff internally on overtime, funded through ARPA to do some of the work, and then doing smaller contracts to smaller contractors to do some of the work that we can't handle in-house. With that said, there's no concrete plan and how that's going to work yet, but we are looking at that possibility to make sure that the project comes in at least at budget, if not under budget. The plans I sent you detail the existing conditions of the plaza as well as the intended use. So the intention here is to make a flex space that is sort of minimalistic in its fixtures. paved space, some new trees, and new plantings along the building. That would be low maintenance, mainly low growing shrubs and flowers, and then be able to use the space for any number of different applications. In the planting beds, there can be some spaces to put some sculptures if there's local artists who'd like to display art. We're working with the owners of the Cherry and Webb building to potentially store some patio furniture. So if there was a community event or a restaurant or a food truck that wanted to set up there for an evening, there'd be some dining furniture. And there's also plans to install a small stage in the corner of the plaza along the building, an electrical hookup, so that way there could be small musical performances or community events outdoors. So that's the intention. It also helps connect the Pearl Street parking garage and parking kind of along that part of downtown to the main central business district. So we're hopeful that it can bring some new life to downtown. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Are we planning on doing anything with the monument?
Yes, the plans call for the monument to be remounted on a new piece of granite in the central planting bed right along Main Street, and then also engraving the granite curbing, the reveal, on the planting bed with the Jerry Lawn Plaza name. So it'd become a little bit more prominent than what it's on right now.
I have a question. Is that permanent picnic tables you're putting there?
No, no
Oh.
permanent fixtures.
Okay, because we had a lot of issues with
Yep.
permanent benches, permanent.
No permanent benches, no permanent picnic tables. Again, the plan is to have it as a flexible space so it can be used for a number of different events and use furniture that's movable and storable elsewhere.
And the total CPC money is what?
It's ARPA funding, actually, and it was funded at $300,000, about 30 to 50.
Wasn't this originally CPC?
They were gonna go to CPC, but I don't think they ever got it. I don't think they ever went to it.
I'm not sure. This was an inherited project. It's
This was,
contracted through ARPA.
The former planner, Bill Kenny, that came here to say that he was gonna go to CPC, but I don't think they ever.
Because I thought that Mr. Mancini from the CPC asked me a question about this. So I can check and see if that's still, I know there was some money and then there was an additional money. So maybe there's some CPC and some APA.
I know that in the files in the planning office, there were a few different iterations of plans. So there might have been money used from CPC in the past to come up with some plans. But then Mr. Kenny, the planner at the time, went to ARPA for the final set of construction documents and the actual construction of the project.
Because I remember watching that meeting before he left, before his retirement. He went to CPC and talked about 3 projects. It was
Rail trail extension.
it was a rail trail extension, it was this project, it was Lower Kennedy, the overlook.
The overlook.
And then he also said about covering the rest of the highway with a linear park in the future or something like that, but that's never forward. Talking to Mass DOT and everything about covering that.
And it was how much, I'm sorry, Chris, APA funds?
300,000 for design, construction admin, and construction.
Would the stage structure be something that's there, like not removable?
Yeah, it'd be permanent. Yep.
I don't know. The only thing I would be concerned with would be that, like as a liability when there isn't an event going on, if someone like jumps off of it. But I guess like that could be something that could happen at the pavilion too.
I think I'm not entirely sure, but it's less than a foot off the ground.
Oh, okay. And then also when it comes to having like the tables and chairs to store in there, I would suggest not doing that. Just because if whoever has keys to that building, because I used to work in that building, and everyone has keys to most of the storage areas in there. At least we did at the time, because I remember we had access to other people's stuff, and I was like, this makes absolutely no sense. But if like the restaurant that's there, I don't even know if that restaurant's still open. If
No.
they wanted to have an outside.
I don't think they're opened.
No.
Then
Well,
I
if they
don't-
wanted to have an outside area, like they could put their own and then put them away after, or if someone wants to have an event that day for that space, they could bring their own stuff versus us or the city having their, items there, cause I just feel like that would end up be going missing very quickly.
So is there a plan for a third bid? Third time in Charles?
I think right now we're
Or no?
exploring
Oh, internal.
internal, general contracting it ourselves, before we decide to go out to bid. If we were to go out to bid a third time, it'd be in the winter. So we're gonna spend the next couple of weeks talking about how we can do this internally if it's possible.
No, because every time we go out to bid and every time we change these plans, we're knocking down the construction money too. You gotta realize that.
Yep.
Because every time you go out for bid, it costs you money. You're gonna advertise, you're gonna do all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Every time you, you know, the contractor has to, or the architect has to change this plan, he's not doing it for free. So your 300,000 is probably down to about 2 by now.
We're at about 250.
Yeah, 250, exactly. I was exaggerating, but, I mean, it does eat into.
Yeah,
cost
it's
of
about
stuff.
$400 to $500 to go out to bid.
All right. Any other questions? Okay.
Nope, thanks for the update.
Do we have to like accept this or just?
No, there's nothing to accept, he
Right.
has nothing to tell you,
No. Just place on file, no?
it's in your agenda package, so I mean, you can motion to place it on file.
Yeah.
Okay. I make a motion to accept and place on file.
Second.
Commissioner Burns made that motion, seconded by Commissioner Regal. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
We're
sir.
just motioning to accept the documents that he's presented and
Yeah.
Yep.
place them on file. Not anything of the work.
No.
Item B, request from the Girls Softball League fall schedule for the field use of Dumont Field, Brogan Boulevard.
Do they have to ask permission for this? I thought this was like their field now.
No.
Or is this a completely different?
They're
am
no
I-
different than Maplewood. They have
Yeah.
to come in, they have to ask permission, they
Gotcha,
have to
okay.
provide the documentation.
Okay.
All we're doing is saying with them, like we do with Maplewood, like we do with Kennedy,
Gotcha.
okay, these are the fields that you will be utilizing, but they still have to ask for specific dates and times, they still have to provide all the
Okay.
documentation. So, this here where they have 9 PM, it's
Mhm.
definitely not gonna be 9 PM, because there's no lights or anything there,
Yeah.
so it's gonna be till dark.
And
Yep.
then, also, no one else uses these, cause I mean, I don't think that they're having games from 7 AM until 9 PM, like on both
No, what happens,
Saturday and
no,
Sunday.
what happened, and that's the thing, see here we go again with the time
Mhm.
thing. What happens is, a lot of times, they'll get the field from 3 PM, which would be the kids getting out of school, till
Mm.
then. But when it comes to be summertime, they want it at 8 in case they wanna have practices when it's warm, or
Mhm.
9 out of 10 times, they're not there.
Mm.
So that's something, I mean, this is basically for the fall right now.
Yeah.
I did tell them that this would be something that in the spring, they have to resubmit their dates and times again, so the
Mhm.
board can address that
Yeah.
then of how
Mhm.
they wanna, you know, if they wanna do this 8 o'clock or, cause sometimes they use it to work on fields or
Yeah.
whatever, but that's a bridge that we can cross with them like we cross with Maplewood, but most of them get it from 3 PM, I have to say, not 8.
Okay.
So, this is just a matter of them getting these dates for now,
Mm.
because I don't know how they're gonna play on those fields though, because they're working on those fields and they're all cut up and so I don't know how they're gonna practice unless they really get there and do some serious work in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
But we can allot them the time, so in case they do, you know, happen to do all that, they can go there with their teams.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Burns made that motion, seconded by Commissioner Regal. All in favor, say aye. Item C, request from the Forever Art Projects, the use of Kennedy Park Middle Street to host a Halloween parade, an event on Saturday, October 28th from 4 PM to 9 PM. At 4:45 PM, I received an email at the Park Board email that comes forwarded to me too, asking to withdraw this. They're not going to be able to do this year.
No, it's
So-
gonna be,
Do I have a motion to
Motion to withdraw.
withdraw? Commissioner Rego made that motion, second by Commissioner Burns. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item D, letter from Jack Hackett Scholarship Softball League regarding ball field lighting project at Kelly Park, Globe Street.
Well, you've got a couple of letters in your packet. One is from Mr. Hackett to myself and Mr. Olivera. It's my understanding that this past week, Mr. Hackett went to meet with Mr. Olivera, and he said that he really didn't get many of his questions answered. So, just so the board knows, I've had feelers out for this project. This is a CPC project that needs to be completed by June of 2024. I have an email to Mr. Olivera because he wanted different architects. We were running into a situation where the same architect was being used. He felt that they were kind of being overutilized, so weren't able to give enough time to certain projects. So I have an email in August, I think it was August 28th, asking him if he had secured this architect because with Maplewood winding down, I wanted to kick this one into gear. He said he had. I emailed him again to say, are you ready to move with Kelly Park? And I received a phone call where he said he didn't know if they had the architectural fees. I informed him that the architectural fees were part of the CPC money, so they could go out with that. He stated he was gonna speak to John Brandt. That was the end of August. I haven't heard back. So I will again email Mr. Olivera and ask where this project stands. But this project has to get out into an architect's hands, has to get out for bid, because Maplewood went out for bid twice. for the
Well, hasn't
same-
even been out to bid yet?
The specs are not even put together yet.
Oh.
I have the Musco lighting guy, I had him visit the site, and he's putting together the plan so that if we have to do like we did the last time and buy the lights in a co-op, remember we had to separate the bid? I have that information. So I'm trying to do whatever information I can to be ready to roll when this goes, but at this point, I don't have an answer. But I do want the board to know that I have, been working behind the scenes. I'm kind of running in place here till I get an answer on this architect. So I will send an email and find out where it stands, and if not, I will bring it back before this board at the next meeting, so you guys might have a little bit more punch than me and try to move it forward.
Well,
But it needs to move forward.
my suggestion is, I did the tour in the walk-in, when we looked at these lights and the bids and that from last time and for Maplewood, and it came in way over budget and everything. The way we did it this past time, we ended up ordering the lights in-house, and then we had
It was a co-op.
a contractor, and I think we should be doing the same thing. If it worked the first time, why are we changing costs now a second time when we haven't even gone nowhere? If anything, we're gonna end up losing this money if we don't get off our hands and do something.
Yeah.
Well, like I
So
said,
I think if we don't have any luck, then Mr. Olivera is gonna need to come before this board next month and explain why.
What he said. Okay, I make a motion to accept and place.
Well, I
on
guess
file.
you can, accept and ask that if we don't have any additional information.
That
Either
you-
I bring you information back to this
Yep.
meeting, or if I don't have the information, then Mr. Olivera would have to bring you back the information.
Is it something that like, I don't know if it's inappropriate, but like one of us call him, or like Joey call, or like physically call, like I know you send an email, but like us try to call him, be like, hey, if you don't have an answer for this, you have, like to let him know that like, if you don't have something now, we'll do something by.
Well, in
this
my
board
email to
meeting
him,
or
I'm gonna
something.
tell him that the board discussed it.
He
and
can
would
watch
like
the
to
meeting.
move this
He
forward,
can watch the
and-
meeting and see how we had it.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't, I will have an answer probably within 2 weeks. It won't wait till you
Yeah.
4 weeks of your meeting.
Mhm.
If I don't, I can let the chairman know that, and if
Mhm.
anybody wants to reach out, they
Yeah.
can do whatever they gotta do. But
Okay.
at this point, we gotta get purchasing, you know, to put these, an architect to put the bid together. That's number one, because you can't put your bid out without an architect putting that together. Um, I personally feel that if to switch architects at this point, we just had that architect do this project at Maplewood. So if they wanna switch architects down the road, I think that's fine. I think the architect that we have that did the Maplewood project, this is kind of a repeat, you know? So let's just, he may be more familiar with it rather than get someone on brand new.
Yeah, and then
Let's
maybe
get this
going
guy on
forward, we-
repeat, get the co-op lights going and get these lights in, because if the weather is good, I'd like to start taking them down in the fall
Yeah. Okay.
and put them up in the spring. Because Maplewood was delayed with their schedules because of the time, we had to put it out for bid twice. You know, we never know what we're gonna go in, you know, run into. So personally, I think that I would like to see the same architect, because this is just like pushing the repeat button in a different place.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
That's my opinion, that's the board, and the board can either say that's what they wanna do, and I
Yeah.
can echo that to Mr. Olivera, or
Yeah.
you can do whatever you wanna do.
Yeah, I make a motion that we accept this and then you reach out and we try and get some more information so we can make a plan at the next board meeting.
Second.
Commissioner Burns made that motion, seconded by Commissioner Rego. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item E, request from the Garden Club regarding permission to plant a memorial tree in Kennedy Park, Broadway, at a location acceptable to the Board of Parks Department.
Short and sweet, I've worked with these ladies, they came back, they did the center garden.
Yep.
They replanted everything there, pulled out the old stuff, put new stuff. They wanna plant a memorial tree in memory of someone of the garden club. They had a location picked out, and we're gonna put another tree similar to the ones that Chris had. They can't get that tree, and Chris suggested, Chris Pirano, I guess at the time, was working with them back then with the tree planting. He suggested that they don't plant where those trees are. So I suggested to them, there is a sign at the entrance of Kennedy Park that used to have a tree there. And an ornamental tree would be fine, it wouldn't have to be a big giant tree, but the tree the sign when you go into the
Wait,
wading pond area,
Yeah.
there's no plant, no shrub there.
Yeah.
So they probably would be able to plant a tree right there. So if the board doesn't have any objection, and I spoke to Chris Martin about it, who does do the tree planting, he was like, I think that's fine. So the board has no objection. I'm gonna suggest that they buy whatever kind of tree is, you know, acceptable to that area and plant it there. And this way they can plant, because it's gotta get in the ground before
Yeah.
next month.
How about a holiday
Motion to
tree?
accept.
I was
got one.
gonna say, whatever tree they pick, just make sure it's something
No
that,
fruit, I said,
or
no,
something that like is like a pre-approved via
Yes.
whoever
yes.
knows
I was
those
gonna say,
things.
Well,
nice
that
holiday
was,
tree.
that was one of the trees that
Joey?
the group did say they could have with the dropping.
Oh, the app,
fruit.
no.
Yeah, so I've been very clear with them, anything that's gonna drop, create fruit, fall, we want either little flowers to fall to the ground or leaves to fall to the ground. That's it, we don't want any type of,
Okay.
so that, they're well aware of that.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Rego. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Farias. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh. Item F, request from Diamond Vocational Athletic Director Bobby Bailey, the use of Britland Park Soccer Field, Wardell Street with lighting on October 23rd for a night game for senior night.
Make a motion to approve.
There's no, before you,
Sorry.
no conflicts with anybody else?
On a Monday? No, we
No.
don't we only have lights on for Fridays on the.
Okay. But nobody else's practices, no other games, nothing like that? Hey,
Not with permission.
okay. Well,
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Burns had made that motion first, second by
Okay.
Commissioner Rego.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item G, volleyball courts construction bid project at Kennedy Park, Bay Street. We have anybody here for that?
Joey.
I will answer.
Oh.
Oh. See?
Any questions you want to ask?
I will help you as best I can. Charlie Denmead, DCM Director. And what questions can I help you with, Mr. Commissioner?
All right, so,
Do you even have any questions?
Yeah.
yeah. One of the questions was when this, when Mr. Olivera did come back for this, and asked, I know this park board said a couple of months back that we recommended either Pulaski or Maplewood, but now it's back at Kennedy because we were concerned with the pickleball, there was not enough parking, and this project now going down there, there's no parking added. Is there future plans for parking?
There are future plans for parking. When I had a long discussion with Mr. Dion today, and the reason it's not being put in at this point is they're going to wait for the next budget, and that money will be in that budget for the additional parking.
Is that a guarantee?
Well,
Just throwing it out there.
no,
This is well, Commissioner Burns had me, just came up. I was gonna say the same thing. I would like to have this in writing.
yeah,
A letter drawn up that there
don't
is
think
gonna
that-
be, proposal that there is gonna be some kind of funding or proposal, because, no offense, the last few park projects that either we weren't involved with, this board hasn't been involved with, to the 11th hour or something, you go to Britland Park, and I'm part of the emails and everything, back and forth with contractors and that, and Britland's a mess right now. Flooding and that, they had the police palooza that you couldn't even use that area
Yeah.
because it was a swamp. And
No,
it was
we-
never like that before.
no, Ms. Smith and myself, we've identified that with Britland Park. And we all agree that we have to add parking down to the Britland, to the pickleball court, which will also now have the 2 volleyball courts over there. And we can get a letter for future commitment. I believe now is the approval for the court, you know, so, but the funding for that is all in place.
So, okay, sorry, go ahead.
No.
My question, I have a question for the parking, and I know we're not there yet.
Yeah.
However, if there was parking, and if there was a plan, would it be going on the side where the volleyball court is, or because we're talking about where the softball field is, correct?
No.
Am I going crazy?
No.
They're going right behind
We had talked
where the
about
pool
that
used to be.
eventually, because there were gonna be so many things down there,
Okay.
we talked about that. But presently, I think what they're just talking about is to accommodate those 2 facilities at this point.
Yeah.
Because what was talked, eventually you may have to do that, because if they're gonna talk about splash pads and all these other things that have been coming down the road, then you will need even additional parking to that. I think there's been some discussion about moving the courts a little bit so that they may be able to utilize street parking, or, I don't,
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, it could be adjusted so we can access the court from either the pickleball parking lot, where the pickleball is, or from Bradford Ave. And it's a matter of just a little movement on the court itself. But and again, we all agree that parking needs to be added. Ms. Smith and myself, we went around there, we got a really good idea where we would place it to add on to it. But,
The
yeah.
only thing this
Sorry.
board can do is request ARPA funding. You wanna do
Yeah.
whatever you do it, that's your choice.
Mm-hmm.
If they can deny it, they can add it to it. But again, I don't know how long this ARPA funding is gonna last.
Yeah, no, that's I was thinking that it was going where the softball field was, and I didn't know how much space of that was gonna be taken up by. Ignore that.
This is going to where the
Yeah.
old sand volleyball is, behind the old pool.
Yeah, okay.
The other thing I wanted to ask was, Mr. Dominion, if we did have money in the budget, or ARPA funding and everything, I see your guys do work.
Yeah,
We couldn't have our own in-house guys pave a parking lot,
we're very
and
close
then
to
have
that.
traffic, and
Yeah.
have traffic stripe it?
It's something we've been looking looking to do within the department itself. And it's add a couple of pieces of equipment. This year, we have a large triaxle we purchased through ARPA funding. And we're about a paver and 4 employees away from being able to do this work us internally. I mean, we do
That's far away.
we do a lot of sidewalks, we do a lot of paving to a limited size because of, we don't possess the right equipment. But that's in the discussion, and that'll be coming up. Otherwise, we could lay out that parking lot ourselves, and the savings would be immense.
Well, especially with the ARPA funding right now, if we're getting projects to double or triple the
Yeah.
amount.
Well, if you look at this, and there's a good portion of ARPA funding in here. So, because CDA at this point, this is what they could contribute, what they did, and that's why the discussion is, as soon as he hits the next budget, they can open the parking.
Charlie, did he tell you if his next budget starts July?
I sat back there, and I don't know if their budget runs calendar year
Or
or
October.
if it runs, it's
The
I-
housing
federal,
authority
so-
runs from, it starts in April.
Yeah,
It
I
depends
sent
on
him
the-
an email
it might be that.
asking-
Yeah.
I did
That
send
was a
Mike
good
an
question. I
email.
asked myself that here.
I asked Mike, when does, because I knew you were gonna ask, Amber.
Yeah.
When does your next your next
Yeah.
year start?
Yep.
I didn't get a response yet, so, if,
Hold on, I can
once he
tell you right
answers.
now.
Well, community development might be different. I know they go,
Well, it's April
For the
1st, April
hearings
1st to
in
March
January?
31st.
No,
If it's-
you can Google it.
Yeah. Housing's April 1st to March 31st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's,
HUD would
Yeah.
probably fall on the same.
it used to be October, I remember a long time ago, October to
well,
October.
the state
But
is
it
what?
could be July to July because they
The
do
state is
have their
different than the
hearings
city
in
too, right?
January.
Yeah,
The state's got a different cycle too.
yeah, so,
Bad service in this building. Maybe they should add that into the budget. You can look at, the budget will say what the months are, but I just can't physically open it. Because the service in here isn't bad, isn't good. But I would assume it was, either the same as the housing authority, which would be April 1. I don't think it's a calendar, because I don't think most cities don't run on a calendar year.
No, we run on a fiscal, July 1.
Yeah.
But Mike Dion's money is HUD money.
Oh, HUD is,
Yeah. CDA.
January. Is it January? No, I'm like, or is that, because there's HUD money, there's, what's that, HUD
D-
is,
Well, the
what's
new,
this?
the new thing.
DHCD
Yeah,
is
it's a new
state.
name they got.
So I
rid
know
of it.
HUD and DHCD are separate,
Yep.
and they have different fiscal years, and then I know those two were different, and then, it might be October, now that you said
I
that.
think it's, listen, don't quote me, but.
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
it
because I
was
know the
October.
Housing Authority, HUD, and DHCD all had different, which was so dumb.
Well, because it seemed, and the reason I say that is this project is coming out now, and it's October. So, but it could be July. He could go out for bid in July for some items, I don't know, but, if this goes out to bid, depending on the weather, it might not be installed till spring.
that's, the question is when we put it out, because relatively, the project itself is no bigger than a basketball court.
Right.
You know, so with the fencing and all, I don't think it would take that long to actually do it. It's when they get it in their hands, the contractor gets it, that's when the clock starts.
Your parking situation probably won't be an issue until spring anyway, because unlike
Yeah.
pickleball, I don't know the.
They parked all over the
volleyball
grass on a
people.
pickleball,
It's-
because I went by the other night, they were packed all over the grass.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they would play. So I think it would be, when it comes to spring, we would need to have addressed parking. So you got a little bit of time there, I mean.
Now, I had another question. Are you all set?
Yeah.
You all set?
Yeah, well, actually, one last thing. The only thing I would say is when you were saying, like, when I had said, is it a guarantee that this would be in the budget? I don't think they're allowed to say that. Like, I don't think prior to the budget being, like, approved of.
Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
think that they're, because like
Well,
like
the only thing that the board can say
Yeah.
is we're not gonna approve any additional CDA money for other projects until the parking project is funded. Because technically, the board can, if the board is approving these projects, they can say, how did this project supersede our request for parking? Our initial and most urgent request that we have right now is parking. So if an additional project comes to you that's CDA funded, and you feel that the parking should take precedent, then you guys at that point probably would be able to say, what happened to the parking? That's probably the only, like you said, they can't promise any money, but when new money comes forward, if it's for something else, then you could say, how come we skipped over the parking? You knew that was a priority and an adamant precedent of this board. You gotta fight that fight then, I guess. I mean, I guess I wouldn't hold up the,
No, but then my only concern, which, and like, I know that we're all on the same page with this, is God forbid if something happens because people are parking like crazy down there, or someone parks across the street and is walking over, like, there's just,
well,
that's just too much.
I'm very good at recording. Put a side note that you are very concerned, you're approving this, not reluctantly, but, you know, with this.
Under protest, no.
Yeah, however you want to put it, but, you know, we're moving this project forward with a stipulation that the.
Additional parking be
That
added.
additional parking is
Yeah,
going
I
to be
mean,
put in
and you
place.
can put it in there, and, you know, and when there's a parking issue, and we come forward, we don't want to be swept under the carpet, because we brought this
Yeah.
you know, if we're talking about it now, this is a public meeting, that you can say, roll tape, here's the roll tape, you got it going, and you're concerned about the parking, you want it to be immediately addressed. Whether, I mean, if we have other funding sources, then show us these other funding sources.
Yeah.
Like I said, grants are not gonna pay for parking lots. Mr. Dion's already given money. APA is given money, so where are our other funding sources that we were talked about? When we went to council, they told the council we had other funding sources. Whoever presented our budget said, we have other funding sources, so we didn't need money in our budget. Well,
Show me the money.
there you go, Jerry Maguire, show me the money.
Now,
Okay.
you all
I
set?
don't know, so you have it all?
Yep.
So everyone that we can get money from, we've gotten the money from, and we still have a shortfall. So as long as you guys we're all discussing that, we all brought that to the forefront, I think we award the contract and hope everyone keeps their promises,
Okay.
I guess. Helen's shaking her head.
No, she's just cold.
Oh, no,
It is really cold
I'm
in here.
holding my mouth on this one.
Sorry.
You have any questions? Commissioner Rigo? All set? Are you all set? Any
Yep.
questions? Okay. One thing I just want to know, since this is going out behind the pool area and everything, and I know pickleball's right off the parking lot, is there any sidewalks or anything to get to
There's
this?
going to be installations of walkway.
Okay.
To feed in.
Just to make sure it's ADA compliance and
That's been
everything.
discussed, and that there will be installation of walkways.
Okay. Just don't want nobody going across grass in
No,
that,
no,
in that area.
we picked that up, and they will be installed.
All right. So, do I have a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Commissioner Rigo, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Burns, and that's gonna be added with that side letter,
What side letter?
to what we just said about.
But I'm concerned.
Oh, the
Concern.
side concern, not a
Yeah, side-
letter.
side
Oh, yeah,
concern.
yeah,
Side
side
note.
concern.
Side notes,
note,
side
okay.
notes.
Side note of the parking lot,
Yep.
yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner inquiries,
I have one.
yes. Commissioner Burns.
It's about the parking, but not really. What, and I feel like I should have asked this when Chris was here, but what ended up happening to the Overlook project? Is that like not a thing anymore?
The one down below?
Remember how they were saying they wanted to do, what was like a walking path or like
Yeah.
a trail? That just,
It's in the CPC, it's a CPC project.
Yeah.
It was $150,000 originally. I don't know if Mr., what was his name, the previous planner?
Kenny.
If Mr. Kenny, did ask for additional money because it's been around so long, it needed additional monies. I can check with the CPA to see if if they were given that original money, but that's another project that is in planning.
Yeah.
Okay, because
So-
my only question on top of that would be back to what are we gonna do with that softball field area? Because I just feel like it's just sitting there
Well,
collecting
again,
dust.
I think when they do that, because that had 10 parking spaces,
They would need to.
which when it came before the board said, scrap this plan, 10 parking places is not gonna cut it. Come back with more parking places.
Yeah.
That's how it went back to
I was gonna say, I
CPA.
remember that part, but then I
So-
don't remember it ever coming back.
So, I think at that point, when that's addressed and these other facilities are addressed, and if there is ever the splash pad, that's something that we're gonna have to definitely,
Okay,
my suggestion was, that's the parking. And you have to
Yeah.
put one of those buttons so people can cross the street, and
Yeah.
people can, if it's gonna get to a point where there's not enough park, once you put the facilities in, there's not enough park for the parking.
yeah,
So that would be the logical thing to do.
Yeah.
Some of the, make a set of whatever steps or whatever out of that parking lot that some people could use, but again, you gotta make that parking lot so that people can get on the sidewalks and go,
yeah,
if they're not able to do steps. So there's a lot of things that come with that, but.
yeah. I'm happy that they're trying to do something with that area, because I just feel like it's been like a dead area for a while, and certain people have been taking advantage of it, which, as they should. But, yeah, that's my, like I
Yeah,
said,
there's a
that
lot
would
of-
be my thought, is make that a parking lot.
Yeah.
But
But
that's, in my head, I was
throw
like,
that out there as well
if we're
when-
still doing the overlook, then that should be in someone's plan, somewhere,
Or
somehow.
in, or as a park board,
Just saying.
suggestion for your CDA funding.
Yeah.
So that you can accommodate all these people, then
Mm-hmm.
you would now, I don't know if they could just do a parking lot. It's very difficult for a grant or whatever to just do a parking lot. Nobody wants to do a parking lot. They want, when we get a grant, they wanna do the park, the benches, the splash pads, the playground, they wanna do the whole thing. Nobody wants to give you money to make a parking lot, so probably it is gonna be something that ends up being done in-house if we get this kind of equipment that Mr. Denman was talking about, because it's not a glamorous thing, like, no one has a ribbon cutting for a parking lot.
I will.
I agree.
I will
But you
hold
know what
the
I'm saying,
scissors.
it's like, it's not anything that everyone goes, oh, great, we have a parking lot.
Yeah.
So, I think that's something that,
We haven't had a ribbon cutting ceremony for a $2 million project that we did for Oak Grove Cemetery.
Yeah, no, that was, like I said, in my head, I was like, if we're putting all this stuff down there, like, we can't keep
it's good.
adding
That
without
area has
adding.
been discussed as turning into a permanent parking lot,
Okay.
but again.
Just to put it on the table, I went to the memorial for Richard Urban Sunday.
Yes.
It was very nice. They had a very, very nice memorial. His daughter was down from Boston, so. With the works, I'm trying to get a bench to put out. Veterans, gonna help.
Commissioner Farias, anything? Just one thing I want to know, last month we had, just want to make sure that we're all in agreement with this. So Ms. Smith has her orders to,
Oh, my marching orders.
yeah. We agreed that we're not going to change past practice. All nets, all equipment get taken down on November 1st.
Is that correct? Are we still?
The tennis
Yeah, was
courts,
that,
everything.
oh, I was like, I thought,
Yeah.
I didn't even know that, I thought that's what we were doing.
Well,
It's a normal thing, but,
I thought you said before Halloween.
well, it's
Yes.
Halloween is the last day.
Okay,
It's-
yeah,
And then the lights go off and the nets come down, but I just want everybody to know, because the phone calls could stop,
do you take the
with-
basketball hoop nets
No.
down?
No.
Okay,
No.
yeah, no, that's,
The tennis nets, because if they get snow or whatever, they
Mhm.
start.
Pickleball court
The
nets and
pickleball
everything.
courts are gonna come down. The
Volleyball
tennis nets are gonna
courts,
come down. And the
volleyball
lights
courts,
go
everything.
off for the season.
Yeah.
Till like March, when we put them back up again.
Mhm.
We're all in agreement
Yeah.
with that.
Yes.
I just wanna know what I'm doing.
Yes.
Yep.
you got my number, Nancy, I got your back.
Okay.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Rego made that motion. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Farias. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.